Good. I think we're recording. Hopefully the microphone is picking my voice up nicely. This is a short video primarily for two people that I'm currently aware of who would find these exercises quite useful. For stiff shoulders, stiff upper back, stiff neck. Sometimes stiffness in the neck can come round and create headaches. Quite often that contraction in the upper back gets down into the lower back where the base of the spine joins the pelvis. And so this is a marvellous couple of short exercises which really help release the back and the shoulders and the neck. The crucial thing is don't push through pain, don't push through discomfort. So although I'll give you some modification, some guidelines, it's down to you to listen to your body, all right? So just throw out of the window any of those old things about no pain, no gain, all right? If it makes you say, oh, this feels good, fine. If it makes you think, oh, I'll be glad when I stop doing this, you've gone too far, all right? So a little bit of equipment. The most valuable bit of equipment is this lovely cylinder, all right? The one I'm using is quite long for my body, and because I'm quite broad in the shoulders, it's quite a deep, about 6 inches, maybe 7 or 8 inches diameter. You don't have to buy one. If you're traveling and you're anywhere, just a tightly rolled up blanket. The important thing is that your head and the base of your spine are supported. So this is long enough to take the base of my spine here and my head here. If your rolled up blanket is shorter, you can have 3 or 4 pillows, all right, under your head, but you need to have the shoulders on that rolled up blanket. Okay, right. So here's your equipment. If you're on the floor, of course you'll be on the floor. What a silly thing to say. Find a way of positioning the base of your spine on the bottom of the cylinder. Just gently roll down, and even just this gentle rolling down, you'll feel your spine going pop, 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 just releasing with enjoyment, all right? If the neck is vulnerable, as you roll down, just support it with your arms so your body doesn't have to hold the weight of your head. So first off, just lie down on the cylinder. If you've never done it before, legs fairly wide apart. As you get used to the movement, you can bring your feet closer and closer together. But if you start off with them close, you'll spend most of your time trying to balance on the cylinder. So start off with a wide stance. That's good. And just let your hands rest on the floor. It can be a carpet, rug, you know, something so that your elbows don't feel uncomfortable. And begin by just wiggling your pelvis up and down. So you might hear some people talk about tucking the tailbone in. If you've done Pilates, you might hear people talking about imprinting, pushing the small of the back against the cylinder. So it's not strengthening the back, but it's taking your attention towards the core, helping the back do less, helping the core do more. All right. Now, first part of the movement is just to push the small of the back against the cylinder. And just feel that. You'll feel your tummy engaging and hopefully feeling the small of the back actually pushing against the cylinder. That will give you better balance, all right? If I put my feet close together and I don't push the small of the back in, as soon as I lift my arms up, everything's wobbly. But if I push the small of the back in against the cylinder, engage the core, you're not wobbling, you're stable, all right? But as I said, start off with the feet about shoulder width apart. And then as you get used to lying on the cylinder, you can move your feet closer together, and then that will engage the core a little bit more. First thing then is just to reach upwards. Doesn't really matter what you do with your hands, but I quite like interlocking my fingers, like back to back, and just reaching forward. So you lift the shoulders up and then you just let them drop. Lifting them up and letting them drop. You've got 5 or 6, maybe even 7 pounds of arm on each, hanging from each shoulder. So you don't need extra weights. Just letting them drop is quite enough to loosen the shoulders up to begin with. Ah, that's good. Lovely. Now, next movement from there is just bringing the hands above your head. And if you're lucky, you'll find that your hands and your fingers will touch the floor behind your head. If they don't force it, just go as far as your hands are happy. But once you're in that position, you'll find that the belly wants to lift and the back wants to lift off the cylinder. So push the cylinder, the small of the back in against the cylinder, engage the tummy muscles, and then just gradually reach further and further above your head. Now, at the moment, I can feel a really nice stretch in front of my shoulders, actually going all the way down to the belly. And for me, it's a lovely stretch. Really nice. Some people will go further and they won't even feel a stretch. Some people won't go anywhere near as this position and it'll begin to start feeling uncomfortable. So only as far as it feels comfortable, and only as long as you can feel your fingers well. So if you begin to get pins and needles in your fingers, time to come out of the position, all right? Come out of the position not by lifting your arms, because there's a lot of weight there straight on the shoulders, but again, just work your way back, letting the fingers slide along the floor or as near to the floor as they're happy, so that your hands are really close up to your head before you then bring your arms down. Then you're not putting a load of excess weight on the shoulder muscles, especially the little shoulder muscles. And have a little break, have a wriggle. Always good to have a wriggle. Wiggle that pelvis again, make sure it hasn't got too tight. That's it. That's good. Now, before we do the next bit of the stretch, just bring one knee up. Again, only as far as it's happy to go. Don't push through pain. Straighten your leg as far as it's happy to go. I prefer keeping the foot at right angles to the leg. Some people will talk about pointing, but right angles to the leg, you get a nice stretch to the calf muscle at the same time. Gently come down. If that's too much of a strain, bend your knee and then place it back on the floor. All right. You'll find your foot is a little closer to the base of your spine than it was. Same thing on the other side. Just lift the knee, straighten as far as you're comfortable. If the hamstrings are tight, then straight might be down here. So don't try and copy me, but just where your body's happy to go. And then slowly down. Again, if there's any strain, bend the legs so you take the weight off the effort, all right? And then just place your foot down on the floor. You'll find your feet are 3 or 4 inches closer to the base of your spine, and it makes the next movement a little easier. So again, wiggle those hips, tuck the tailbone in, push the small of the back against the cylinder, and then just lifting. Again, you're curling the spine gradually off the cylinder. In your mind, you could imagine each bone in the spine gradually being lifted off and then coming back down again. If you get a hint of a cramp in the hamstrings at the back of the legs, move your feet further away, okay? So again, just curling in, pushing the small of the back against the cylinder, then gradually lifting the pelvis up into the air. If you can imagine you're attached to a cable that lifts you up towards the sky, that takes the strain off the muscles. And then just come down slowly. You can do it over 2 or 3 breaths. Take a breath in, make the movement as you breathe out. Go as far as it feels comfortable. Take another breath in. If it feels safe to go a little higher, then do so. You'll begin to feel the shoulders engaging, being pushed against the cylinder, and then coming down. That's good. Right, now the next movement is again coming up. I like to just loosen the shoulders again between each movement. Oh, lift, let them drop. Then the elbows come out to either side. Hands lift, and just ever so gently let the hands drop back, keeping the small of the back pushed in against the cylinder. And then when the hands don't want to go any further, again, don't push through pain. Just fine-tune the movement by bringing your elbows gently up and down. And there'll be a point where you really feel the muscles engaging, where you stretch the pectoralis muscles in front of the shoulder. And again, just hanging like that. Wriggle the fingers. Make sure the small of the back is imprinted on the cylinder. Again, if the fingertips begin to get tingly, pins and needly, just rotate round and come back down. And then to come up, you can either curl your head up, or you can use your hands to come up, and then hands come down, oh, and up you are. That's the basic movements. Very simple. There are loads and loads of different movements you can do with this cylinder, but let's just keep it simple, keep it focused on freeing up shoulders, neck, low back. I don't recommend it, but I use them myself, and they have to be done with great care. You can put weights on your hands to increase the stretch. It has to be done with great care because you've already got 5, 6, 7 pounds of arm on the shoulders. You don't need much weight. When I do use weights, I don't like buying things. So this is a pebble from the beach. It fits in my hand. It's about 1/2 kilo. This was a weight that I got from my wife's drum kit. She doesn't play the drum, but it was a weight that helped the drum kit. So 1/2 kilo weight, pebble, 2 pebbles that just fit in your arms very nicely. And they just give a little extra weight, but there's no point using them if it causes pain. All right? So exactly the same movements. When you're raising your hands, you let the weights take the hands down to the floor. You let the weights keep the hands on the floor as you stretch up. And the same thing when you've got the arms to one side, you let the weights just gently take. But don't use weights to begin with. All right, that'll do. I thought this was only going to last 5 minutes, but it's actually lasted nearly 15 minutes. I'll have a listen, and if it seems like I haven't been speaking gibberish, I'll upload it, and then you can listen to it. Okay, bye-bye.